Well, great Monday evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time again. We are coming to you live with Marriage by Design, episode number 8. We're already 8 weeks into 2017. We're glad that you joined in with us on this week. Of course, we're coming to you every single Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you tune in. Tonight's topic, very, very good one. Last week we did the topic, what makes a good husband? So we had to follow it up with what makes a good wife. We had to balance it out, of course. Yes. So we were talking about what makes a good wife. This is the time right now where you want to go ahead and share this out.
Yes.
You're going to go ahead and share it out to your personal page.
I am.
I shared the mine in just a moment. But share this out. Or you can invite. You hit that share button down at the bottom, and you can invite specific people. You have somebody in mind right now. You're thinking of that person who, you talk about what it means to be a good wife, what it takes to be a good wife. They need to hear this. You can invite them personally. Make sure you comment. We want to hear from you through the show. This is live, so we're going to be checking in, looking at your comments. If you agree with some of the things we're saying, if you disagree, if you got something to add, value to add, definitely make sure you comment. And finally, make sure you turn on your notifications.
Right.
Hit that turn on button so anytime that we go live, you get notified and reminded that, hey, Marriage by Design is live. We about to be bringing you some awesomeness and some value. You want to make sure you stay in the know with that. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and move straight into our announcements. We have so many announcements in all our shows in January and stuff. So it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's about to pick back up.
It is. We have a phenomenal event. And I love the word phenomenal. I may even use it too much, but for real this time, for sure.
For sure.
March 24th. Go ahead.
What's up, Sabrina? Sabrina, she turns in every week. What's up, Bree?
We love Sabrina.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tune in on March the 24th. So actually, mark your calendar. Mark your calendars for March the 24th. That is Friday. We're gonna have an event on Friday night. It is going to be a really phenomenal. Good time. I know, right? I was trying to think of what word to use instead of phenomenal.
Another superlative. It's a can't miss. Listen, we're still ironing out all the details, so stay tuned. But what we can tell you is it's going to be a live event. Honestly, a live event. We're going to have some live entertainment. We love to have a good time. Definitely going to have some live entertainment going on. And mark your calendar for March 24th. Just go ahead and mark that off. If you got anything else planned, cancel it. It's gonna be.
They can go to work, right? If they need to.
I don't know. You might need to take off a couple days, right? Sick leave or slick leave. No, you ain't gotta take off or anything, but it is gonna be a good time. So, again. And we're about to get into our show topic. What makes a good wife? Last week we talked about what makes a good husband. So we're talking about what makes a good wife. We got some notes and some stuff down here. Again, we want you to comment. Let us know if you have anything to add. If we're missing anything, or if you disagree, if you agree, definitely chime in. But before we get into our topic of the week, as always, we like to bring you a book of the week, because we at Marriage by Design, we really, really feel strongly that it's not necessarily about working on your marriage.
Exactly.
It's about working on yourself.
Right.
Right. Your marriage isn't the challenge. The marriage is the problem. It's you. Sometimes it's you, right?
Right. It is. It is.
People think, man, my marriage is so, I got challenges in my marriage. No, you just mean, right? Or my marriage is the problem. No, you just selfish, right? It's not the marriage, it's you. Right. So you got to work on yourself. So we always bring you a book of the week. And this week, Yolanda is going to go ahead and share with us the book of the week.
And you gave me the perfect, what's the word I'm talking about?
Segue,
intro into the book. Because the book is The Pursuit. This is not a marriage book, but it is a strong self-development book. This book is by Dexter Yeager and John Mason, and it's very good. And the first line, it says, success is hidden in the journey. And what I like about that is success is a journey. You don't arrive at success. You're not going to arrive at success in your marriage. It's the journey along the way. It's the change along the way. Right. And this book really goes into good detail. What I enjoy so much about this book is it's 31 chapters. So every day you can read a chapter that's not only going to push you ahead more in your personal development, but also as you're changing and growing, your marriage will change and grow and you will get better. As you get better, your marriage will as well. And just something that jumped out at me that I want to touch on as soon as I started reading this book, was in chapter 1. And it says, if you are not spending more time in the future than in the past and present, you are likely to continue living the life you are living today.
Wow.
And the reason I chose that statement is because as a woman, I think women have a difficult time sometimes moving outside of the past and the present.
Wow.
I think that we hold on too much to different things, and just going along with what makes a good wife, you got to learn how to forgive. That is a key thing. And once you forgive, you got to move on. Stop thinking about the things that have happened to you in the past, what the relationship was, whether it had been a past relationship or error that your husband had made, and leave those things in the past and move on and think about the present. And as you're thinking about the present, think about what you can do better, or what they can do better together, or whatever the case may be, but leave the things in the past in the past. And the book just goes on and on. That was just one quote out of the book.
Right, one chapter. Yeah,
one chapter out of one chapter, and it talks about so many different things. Chapter 9 is also phenomenal. It's something that I had to consciously work on.
Dropping on them, baby.
Dropping on them. A big mouth shows a small mind.
Ooh.
Right? Just being quiet sometimes. A lot of times I find myself wanting to talk and speak and say what I have to say and say my mind and my piece, when I just need to be quiet and listen and gather the nuggets from whether it be James or whoever else, especially
or the situation. Sometimes the situation might be trying to tell you something.
Oh yeah, sometimes situation. And as a mom, get busy doing things, and I'm like, okay, it needs to be done my way. But a lot of times it's not my way. I just gotta be quiet, be still, and just wait. Okay, so this book is, filled all the way through and throughout.
So a lot of highlights in there. You've been studying that.
I have. I've read. I need to go back and read and reread. I have so many books I need to pick back up off the shelf, but this is definitely one to get. So with that being said, we want to make sure that we go and talk about what makes a good wife. Well, that's our topic.
First off, that was phenomenal. That goes great with the show. And I love what you pulled out in chapter 1 about more in the future,
right,
than where you are. And it's so interesting because you can, and even in meeting people for the first time, you can tell where they're going by their language pattern. I love listening to people just hearing that language pattern. They're just talking about the past and the present more so than they're talking about the future. And you definitely got to live in the future. You have to understand that where you are is not who you are. Mm-mm. Where you are is just an appointment your past self made to meet your current situation. And
say that again.
You got watch the replay. You gotta watch the replay. So if you want to change your future, you have to change your present.
Yes.
If you want to change your future, you have to change what? Your present. But you need to be consciously understanding that so often we get caught up in thinking that we are our circumstances situation. So if we're in a marriage, we're in a tight situation and circumstance in our marriage, we think that's who we are. No, that's who your past self was. Your past self created the situation and circumstance that you're in right now. So if you change right now, and you can change now,
right,
then you shape your future. And so you want to keep your mind on the future. That was great. I'm glad that you brought that out. And again, we're going to go into our topic now. What makes a good wife? Hey, be sure, again, that you share this out. Our topic is what makes a good wife. Last week, we talked all about what makes a good husband. And now we're about to dive into what makes a good wife. And we want to hear from you. So comment in. Let us know if you have anything. Let's go ahead and ask you. What do you all think it is that makes a good wife? Let's poll the audience before we even get into it.
I love it. I love
Let's poll the audience. Type in the comments below. What are some of the things that you think it takes? What's the number one thing that you think it takes to be a good wife? And we're going to go into it now. If you're a single man watching this, you might be saying, okay, well, why should I tune in? Why should I pay attention to this topic? What makes a good wife? I'm not a wife. I'm not going to be a wife. Or I'm a single man. Why should I look at this? Listen, if you're a single man, you want to pay very close attention to this content because this is what you want to look for in your future wife. The things that we're going to talk about, these are the things that you want to look for sure. And if you're a married man, you're like, well, I'm not a wife. Why do you pay attention to what it is to be a good wife? Because this is what you want to encourage in your wife. The things that we're going to talk about, you want to encourage. Now, notice the word I used was encourage, right? Not demand or make her be this way.
Because she won't do it.
Right. But you want to encourage the things we're going to talk about. You want to encourage this in your wife. Let's see. We got a couple comments already. Supportive, all right, communication. Lisa said loyalty. Oh, that's interesting. We'll talk on that for sure. Anybody else? What are the things that you all think it takes to be a good wife? So why should the single ladies be listening to this?
Well, they have to listen in because this is something they want to become, right? And then your married ladies, they want to model this. This is something that you should be showing to your husband on a regular, daily basis.
Right. So Sabrina said submissiveness. I'm still working on being able to say the word. It's so interesting, Sabrina. We had a conversation about that. We
did.
Right before we started the show. So we're gonna dive in. Let's unpack. So we got some good stuff here. We got anybody else? We got supportive communication from Sabrina. Lisa said loyalty, submissiveness. It's not too late. Chime in. We'll come back and forth the comments and everything. But let's get into it. There's a lot of different things. And so people are commenting and chiming in on different things. They're saying loyalty. They're saying submissiveness. They're saying supportive communication. And all of these things are true. But we kind of boiled it down to two areas that we feel like these things hang off of. Right. These hang off of, and we'll dive into the details of all the specifics. But why don't you share with us the two areas that we kind of consolidated?
The two areas we gathered everything into, and it kind of branches off like a tree. So this is the tree body. Is kindness and understanding. Breaks it down into those two things: kindness and understanding.
And this kind of goes along, with the trend of last week. And I want to refer, to last week just because, again, we did the show on what it takes to be a good husband.
Right.
Go back and catch the replay if you didn't see it. We were saying, hey, good husbands need to have leadership and they need to have strong character. And then we talked about all the different details and specifics on that. And now with a wife, you need kindness and understanding. Let's talk about kindness first, right? When we say kindness, why is it so important that a wife has kindness? And let me sidebar by saying this as we dive into it. Just because we're saying a wife needs kindness and understanding doesn't mean that a husband doesn't need kindness and understanding.
Right.
And just because we say a husband needs leadership and character, it doesn't mean a wife can't have leadership and character. A wife doesn't need character. She just needs... No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying these are the things based off of the roles that you have going into the organization of marriage and the relationship of marriage. These are some of the critical areas for that particular one. So kindness. Why kindness?
Kindness because you have that tender lovingness. I'm often reminded when we say kindness of the phrase, you can catch more bees with honey than vinegar. Right. And so when you're kind and you're sweet and you're tender and loving, you're able to support, nurture, and do all of those different things for your spouse. And when his mind is clear, he is then able to lead, protect, provide, and do all of those different things when he knows that his wife is there for him, supplying that part of whatever that need is for the loving and kindness and nurturing part.
Now, when you say loving, it's so interesting because I love just asking people the question, what is love? And I'll go ahead and ask it to the audience, those who are listening. Type in what you think love is. When I say love, what is love to you? Because we ask this question and we get all kinds of different responses from people. I'm going to give people just a moment. Go ahead and type it in. What is love, right? And there's one response that without fail, I always get. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but without fail, people always, and I don't want to give it away just quite yet because I know somebody's probably going to type it up. Yeah. But whatever it is that you got, love. And again, this doesn't mean that a husband is not loving. Right. A husband doesn't need to be loved. But women, particularly, need to be loving. We have these egos, right? And we need to be, loved on and stroked so much more. Commitment. Wow. Shanti Owens nailed it out of the gate. She said commitment. That's good. That's what we talk about, love being a commitment, love being a decision more so than this feeling and this emotional thing. But one of the words, so I'll go ahead and let it out the back. The thing that always comes up, people say patience, right? They start going into the, I think there's a Bible verse, love is patient, love is kind, right? They start going into all the different things that love is patient. And I stop them right there. Love is patient. Somebody's always going to say that. And when you think about love is patient, this goes counter. It's counterintuitive to what the idea of love is with most people, because they think love is just this emotional feeling that the heart wants, and I'm just in love, and it's infatuation and all these things. How much patience does that require? None. That doesn't really take patience.
Zero.
Right? That doesn't take patience. So bringing it back to our topic here of what it takes to be, what makes a good wife, and we said love. Well, part of love is patience, and particularly when you become a wife and a mom.
Oh my gosh, my patience is tested every day. And it's not James that tests my patience; it's usually the kids. But I try not to let them affect me too much.
Right, but patience, yes. Right? So men, we aren't the simplest creatures, to deal with. And it takes patience sometimes, with us. Sometimes we're kind of dense, we're simple. And sometimes we be overly simple. You got to, as one friend of mine says, that you got to spell it in crayon sometimes for us, right? And so you have to have the patience to deal with your husband. And being kind, being loving, being tender goes right along with that. When you say?
Right, I agree.
Encouraging. Talk about that.
Encouraging. The role, I really believe, as a wife, a big role is to encourage and support your husband. Well, you just said encourage. When you have my encouragement and I am in your corner, then I know that you would be doing better and you can do better things than if I am not. So as a wife, if you are encouraging your husband, then number one, you're helping him do whatever his goal is, whatever he's trying to do. And number two, he doesn't have to look elsewhere for that encouragement. Because if I am not encouraging him, someone else will. Is it going to be his mother? Is it going to be another woman somewhere? He's typically not going to look for encouragement from another man. So if I'm not feeling that particular need in his life, he's going to search for someone else to fill that need. And it may take a while. It may not be instantly. It may take years. But keep being not the encourager in your husband's life. And he either going to find somebody else or he's going to stop needing that encouragement because he'll stop trying.
Or he'll stop sharing with you. Whenever a man gets to a place where he stops sharing his dreams, his goals, his vision, and things that he wants, he stops sharing that with his wife because of a lack of encouragement. That's a dangerous place to be in marriage. And I'm going to give you a secret, ladies, and this maybe not be a secret to all the ladies out there, but men are very, very fragile in their ego. I know we come off, very, very macho and, we're tough and we don't, need all this type of stuff, but men are very fragile with their ego, particularly when it comes to their woman, when it comes to their wife. And so when we talk about encouragement, like you said, if I have my wife and have my back, nobody else believes in me, but my wife believes in me. She encourages me. Yeah, you feel like you can take on the world when you have that, and kindness kind of goes along with that. You don't really see a lot of people who aren't very kind being great encouragers.
No, you don't.
Right. So again, going to it, hey, if you're a single man, look for this. Look for a woman that's really kind. Look, if you're a married man, encourage the kindness in your wife, which sometimes, men, because we're not always the kindest. Men are generally takers. Women are givers.
Yes.
Men are takers. Women, y'all get together, y'all give compliments. Oh, girl, your hair, make up your shoes. Men, we get together, we insult. Hey, man, you fat, you ugly, you stink. We're takers.
Right.
And so sometimes when our wives are being kind, we're impatient. Come on. You've been too nice. You've been too nice. And you want to encourage your wife to be nice. And again, single ladies, this is what you want to become. Married ladies, this is what you want to model. So kindness, that was number one. The second thing we said was, again, understanding. Talk to us about that. Understanding.
Empathetic. We have to be that. And also understanding and embracing of role as wife, right? So let's go back to the top button, empathetic. And why we want to be empathetic is we have to understand and be empathetic to the needs as well as the role of our husband. A big part of that is being a provider, protection, support, and a lot of that he has as having to deal with falls on financial stability of the family and different things like that. So as a leader, you're leading the entire household. Your husband is leading the entire household. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. Yeah. That is not pressure that I myself would want to take on. I wouldn't want to do that ever. But with that pressure, we have to understand as women, when they are not only the provider, if you have children, for you and your support, but also the umbrella as well as the children too. So you're having to protect, provide, and guide your wife and the children. That is a big responsibility. And we have to be empathetic to the needs of them, saying, okay, I understand and I see what you're trying to do. I am going to understand and be empathetic to you being able to do your role, do all of those different things, and not even add more pressure or anything like that. So that's what I would say about that particular.
Absolutely. When it comes to empathy, human beings, we do a pretty bad job in general of being empathetic.
Right.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, he has this great quote on empathy. You should just Google Neil deGrasse Tyson and empathy. He talks about it, and really empathy is one of those things that we could probably need classes on empathy. There probably needs to be in grade school and college. We need empathy. What is that? Understanding a perspective that's not your own. Understanding a position, a situation, a role that's not yours, and you hit it so eloquently when you talked about the pressure, of the role of the husband as that leader, as that God, as that protector and provider. And so, when it comes to understanding and empathy, understanding, your husband's role is so critical. And the pressures that in the role of the husband that he has, that's great. But then you also mentioned understanding, and then not just understanding, watch this, understanding and embracing the role as a wife. Mm-hmm. Understanding and embracing the role as a wife. And this is so taboo in this day and age.
It is.
That
it is.
there are different roles, know your role. Nobody wants to be told know your role.
No.
Think about that. If I said know your role, who you talking to? That's
and
how
it's crazy, right? Because knowing your role saved you so much problem, not in just marriage, but specifically in marriage, because that's what we're talking about, but in anything that you're in work, right, in movie, and whatever you do, and whatever it is, whatever the field of study that you're in, you have a role in that. And so I don't understand why it's so taboo to know your role. I think certain words, they get certain meanings, and then it's so bad. But knowing your role is fantastic. It's a great thing to know your role.
Absolutely. It's only in marriage where people really start to get offended by that, right? They talk about role players in sports.
Yes.
Hey, he's not the star. He's a role player. He knows his role. His role is to hit the wide open three. He's not going to be the superstar. He's not LeBron James. His role is something else. Everybody's not Tom Brady on the team. Mm-hmm. In any organization, people have roles within the organization, whether it's a sports team, whether it's a corporation, whether it's a government entity, whether it's a military. People have roles. So inside of marriage, guess what? People have roles in that as well. And, understanding what your role is, because we can't function as a successful organization.
Right.
In any organization, why would marriage be any different? Mm-hmm. So we can't function at our maximum capabilities if we don't have clearly defined roles. And if you don't know your role and I don't know my role, I got to know mine and embrace mine.
Embrace it.
And then you have to know yours, understand yours, and what?
Embrace it.
Embrace that.
Embrace it. Right, and that's a whole topic on itself. We'll have to come back to that.
It is because we're running out of time here. But just really quickly, in understanding and embracing that role, we talked about kind of two areas there, right? Support and yielding, right?
Yes.
Talk to us just really briefly about understanding and embracing that aspect of the role as a wife, the support and the yielding aspect.
Yes, with support women, as we are supporting our husbands, supporting our spouses, and then yielding. We chose the word yielding. We're going to phase out the word submissive. And that was Sabrina that said that, right?
Right, Sabrina was talking about
We're phasing out that word because it does. So many people think so negatively about that word. We're just going to go with yielding. And being able to do those things to your husband, yield to your husband, his authority, all of that kind of good stuff, as well as supporting your husband, making sure that stuff is in line, being a support. Women, some women are so the taboo about the word support, submission, yielding, all of that kind of stuff, because
I think Shanti likes that. She's giving you a bunch of hearts and stuff. We appreciate it. It makes us feel all special when I see the hearts and the lights.
Because we have relegated those words to mean something horrible, demeaning, beneath us, or anything like that. But when we look at the power in those words, definitely the word support. As a support, guess what? This couldn't go on. Our marriage wouldn't be successful without my support. Support is something that bears the weight. Support is something that carries on after, the leadership is, after you told what to do, after all these different things. Support is what makes it go. And then with the yielding, it's so much strength in that. You talked about knowing your role. You talked about embracing your identity. Being able to yield takes a lot of strength, because sometimes you may think, I don't agree or understand why we're going this route, but because in my role as a wife, yielding or submission, that is what I'm supposed to do. So therefore, when I can identify and yield and submit, I'm actually finding strength within who I am. If that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, which actually, sets me up perfectly for the marriage message of the week. And thank you again for all of the feedback, all of the hearts and the likes, all the reactions and everything. It makes us feel super special. But we are running flat out of time. So let me get my camera queued up here, and we're going to go into our marriage message of the week. All right, so I want to bring you the marriage message of the week, talking about our show topic, what makes a good wife. Well, understand this, embracing that role that you have as a wife is certainly key to being a great wife. And as we wrap the show up, Yolanda set it up so perfectly, talking about knowing that there are certain roles for you, being yielding. But we have this culture that's so counter to wanting to be yielding, so counter to wanting to be that support and embrace that role. And one of the reasons why is because we have failed as men, not seeing that women aren't fighting to take over, they are compelled to take over. When men step up and truly become men, and they appreciate, hold in high regard, and they're sensitive to the needs of their wife, they usually don't fight to take over. They're usually not doing that out of default. And so I was having a great conversation earlier today with a young lady, and we were talking about this whole concept. And one of the things that she mentioned was she didn't know if it was, that was natural to her role. I don't know if this is me. It doesn't feel fulfilling to be in a certain role. And upon further review, as we dove into it and talked about it, that's something that we really uncovered wasn't really the case. See, as human beings, we are very adaptive. We're very adaptive. Let me ask you, if you're a breakfast eater, someone who eats breakfast every morning at 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., you always eat breakfast. If it gets to 10 a.m. and you haven't eaten breakfast, you are starving. You're starving. But you ask that person who doesn't eat breakfast, if they're hungry and they haven't eaten until noon, they're just fine. Now, does that mean that they're not meant to be a breakfast eater? Of course you are. It's breaking the fast. You haven't eaten in 10 hours. You are supposed to break the fast, but your body will not let you feel that pain. You will adapt and feel comfortable in that situation. So what we have had take place in our culture is a lot of people have adapted to a situation that's not what they were naturally meant to be in. They have adapted to be comfortable not being in the role that they were created and designed to be in, and they feel like it's not fulfilling for me to do that. As a matter of fact, it's painful. Someone who's not used to eating breakfast can eat breakfast in the morning and feel bloated and feel stuff, and they can feel uncomfortable. But the truth of the matter is you have just adapted yourself to get there naturally, that is a proper math for you to be breaking your fast on a morning basis, and it is proper based off of your physiological, your emotional, your mental makeup, that certain roles are suited more for men, certain roles are suited more for women, and we have rejected that in large part, not because women are fighting to take over, because they're compelled to take over. Why? Because men haven't appreciated, held in high regard, and been sensitive to the needs as women, and they have wanted to liberate themselves from that role that's not appreciated. So that is our message, a marriage message of
Phenomenal.
the week.
Wow.
And we appreciate you all chiming in. That's right, Shanti said, you better say that, sir. I'm going to say it.
Share it out.
Right. I'm going to say it. You share it.
Yes.
So let's see. Hey, Lisa, they give a marriage message every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. We sure do. Every single night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, as long as that night is Monday. We will be right here. We will give you a marriage message. Hey, between now and the next time that our paths cross, go out there, design the type of life and the marriage that you deserve for you and your family, and we will see you on the journey.